And welcome to the One Shot Wonderarium. I am your host, as always, Tony Williams. And with me, I have someone from across the world, someone we've seen on the show before, but, you know, I have not gotten to do a one-on-one show with you yet, Steve. And you are so busy running shows that I am so excited that we were able to carve out this time to run Hearts Unmasked. So, Steve, if you want to just do a quick introduction of yourself and where folks can find you.
Hello, hi, I'm Steve, also known as Sassy Pants. Don't ask me why, it's a long story. I'm a Twitch streamer, YouTuber, and now TTRPG producer, performer from India. I call myself the best faceless producer from India because it just fits, and I don't usually have a face. Very excited to be here. It's been I think we last connected in November for Eat the Reich. Yeah, that. Yes. It was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we can do this one-on-one as well.
Yeah, it was a very different tonally games, Eat the Reich and Hearts Unmasked. Hearts Unmasked is, for those of you who are unaware, is a two-player superhero romance game. So here in a second, Steve and I will be developing our superheroes who are kind of interested in each other, but during the game we will find out if they are, say, a forever pairing, if duty will overcome their yearning, or if somewhere in between, if they're sort of left in that limbo that a lot of relationships end up in. So I'm very excited to play it. Before we get going, I do want to, as always, thank our producer, technical person, behind the scenes extraordinaire, and of course my government issued introvert, Blood. Thank you again, Blood. Once again, no matter whether you see them or not on a stream, Blood always has a hand in the Wonderarium stuff, and I don't want them to ever be forgotten, so I always try to make sure and say thank you and make sure Blood knows that I love them and that you guys should love them too. Which is perfect. Head into a love game here. So we're going to, I think, start with naming our characters. So the first part of this, and this is a one-page RPG, by the way, written by Kelsey Clary and edited by Peter Cargill. It was created for the one-page RPG Jam in 2022. So you can find more for Kelsey Clary, kelseylynnclary.wordpress.com, or if you just search Hearts Unmasked TTRPG, usually that shows up. I believe I found it on itch. So that's a really good way to find this game and play it if you're interested in playing this at home. So let's create some superheroes. And we talked a little bit, Steve, about tonally what we kind of wanted for this game. And we sort of settled on a little bit of losers, almost.
Yeah. I think it's really funny to just watch two people try their hardest to do things, but things just don't go their way.
So we're going to be creating some like C-level, D-level superheroes that are just trying to, make it by. And I love that idea. Do you have immediate ideas for who your superhero might be.
I usually I've played superheroes twice so far, and they've both always had fire-based powers. So I'm thinking we go the opposite and we give them like water-based powers this time. I
Okay.
think that's yeah.
So it's funny
Think
that you
Katara.
say
Yeah.
that. Because one of my favorite movies of all time, well, it used to be at least, favorite movies of all time, has a superhero with a sidekick whose powers are the ability to just make everything a little damp. And that is I honestly thought about making that character when we came into stream this morning. So it's really quite funny to me that you've sort of latched on into that same wet realm. But yeah, what are you thinking on sort of level? So we want to go wet or ice or cold or something inverse of heat, right?
Yeah, I think to piggyback of your idea, if we're just doing water-based stuff, so think Katara, but like about 10% is effective. That's what I'm thinking. So they can use water as a weapon or use it for healing, but it's mostly just throwing water on the floor while the bad guys are running away, so they slip and fall. That's the vibe, really. That's the best they can do. I think that's really funny.
I had not thought of a water-based superhero creating puddles to hamper enemies, and I love it so much. That's great. That's really, really good. You may need a minute to think about it, but do you immediately have like a regular? I feel like we got to do the classic secret identities type thing, right? Or do you want these superheroes to just be, their regular name?
I think identities are going to be important. I think, at least for my character, this is someone who grew up reading a lot of comics, idolizing superheroes, whether other heroes exist in this world or not, but like comics were their main source of entertainment as a child. And having a secret identity is a very big part of that. So like when they discovered they had powers, immediately it was like, I need an identity. It has to be something, because I can't go out with my real name, because what if someone comes from my family? That's the immediate thing.
Yeah.
So they do have a secret identity, yeah. As far as the actual names, I usually, it's a trend with me. All my characters have S-based names, S names, really. So, and I try to bring some of my Indianness into my characters as well. So either their first or their last name is also kind of Indian origin. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking something like Saket for his IRL, or like his real persona, his real name. Yeah. And for the superhero identity, it'll probably be something like the water wizard or something. Yeah.
Okay. And can you spell it? You said socket?
Saket.
Saket. Okay, cool. Just making sure that I heard that and have that recorded right. And the water wizard. I did not expect the water wizard, and I really, really like it. I have trouble not making jokes sometimes when we create these characters, and so my initial thought was something really, really rough, and it sounds very weird, but like the puddler. And it
go for it. I think that's hilarious.
Right. But it is your character. I just felt like that made me laugh enough times while I was listening to it. I also looked it up to make sure it wasn't something that I didn't want. Interestingly, a puddler apparently is like somebody who works with like molten iron or something. So the more you know there.
See, I was worried it would be something else.
Same.
Yeah.
That's why I looked it up before I said it. Now, granted, hopefully there aren't more search results beyond that I missed. If so, I apologize now ahead of time. But
Immediately reminds me of early 2010s WWE. They brought out a new faction, three women, called the Submission Sorority, and within a week their name had to be changed because it was already a name for something else. So that was hilarious. Yeah.
oh no.
And nobody thought to check. Like they filed trademarks and everything. They had merch ready. It was yeah.
Ugh. Classic. God. So sort of playing off of this water character, there's a couple of ideas I've had. And it would be kind of interesting for a sort of will they, won't they, to do the classic, like, oh, you've got water powers, I've got fire powers. I don't know about that. What I am also thinking about cold in general. I think it would be kind of interesting because for me, playing on that idea of inverses, right? These are, I think these might be characters more on the opposites attract style. And so thinking about water, one of my favorite things about it is that I need it to live. But beyond that, water, to me, one of the hallmarks is that it is free flowing, right? It will fill containers and things like that. The opposite of that would be something like cold that freezes it, that locks it into place, that removes that freedom. And so I think that would be kind of interesting sort of pairing would be that sort of cold aspect. And I given that, or like the solidifying, we could turn things into the crystalline form. I think even if we wanted to go away from cold, I'm like I said, I'm sort of spitballing here. I think. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking like if you want to go cold, they could be really interesting. Like I create puddles and then you freeze them, so like they slide even more. That could be really interesting. But if you want to go crystalline, I think just for like turning things into their baser elements almost. That could be a really dangerous superpower as well. Something that they don't fully understand. If you want to go that route, that's a really cool. Avenue to explore.
The thing, so I really like crystalline, and here's the sort of weighing I'm doing in my head. I really like the crystalline idea. The inverse, or the way back against that is I really like the idea of being able to make people slightly cold and just give them like goosebumps, or it's that's one of those regional terms. I don't know if there's a different form of that you guys use. Or if you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've heard it called goose pimples before, which...
we call them goosebumps too, yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, I've literally, within the state that I grew up, there were like 3 or 4 different variations of that term. I'm like, so globally, there's got to be something else, I'm sure. Yeah. But yeah, so like being able to give people like goosebumps, it would be kind of fun. And you know what? Yeah, I like the idea of giving people goosebumps. So I really want that to be cold instead of the crystal. We're going to.
Yeah, that could work really well, like as an intimidation tactic as well. Like he was like they were so terrifying that I got goosebumps. Not realizing that it was actually the cold that made them do that. That could be really cool.
Yes. And I honestly hadn't thought of a name yet, but let's see. They've got a mild cold power. I think it really takes energy to freeze something. So like they freeze something, but I think it requires them to actually hold still. Like they have to freeze in motion to freeze something. Which could turn into freezing only if they also hold still. So I think there's probably I was trying to think of different superhero names. I'm sure all of these have been picked somewhere because there's an infinite amount, it seems, of different superheroes. But I really liked Chris. This originally was something that I picked for that crystalline character, but it stuck with me that I really like. But Chris is in KHRYS. As their, their regular name. And then I could go with something simple as the Chiller. Or I think Cold Front could be fun. Right?
I like that.
Yeah. That sort of weather pattern that, like, all of a sudden the temperature drops is kind of an interesting aesthetic. And you get some really cool, like, weather pattern. Like, I see Chris as someone who is very into the style aspect of their superhero outfit. So
I like that. I think that's really cool.
Cool. So we've got some general ideas for our characters. How long do we think they've been crime fighting together?
That depends. How old do we think they are? Like early 20s? Are they teenagers?
I would go mid 20s. I think that is it's like that really sort of mid-level 20, so 25, 26 is where I put Chris, maybe even up to 28, but somewhere in that. So I'm actually going to go a little bit higher on this. I'm going to go 28 for Chris.
Yeah, I think 28 sounds good because then, I was thinking about how they potentially could have gotten their powers. And of course, there has to be like some big catastrophic event that causes superpowers, right? Of course, like how else? And it's one of those things that affected a lot of people, not just them. Think of like the particle accelerator in the Flash, right?
Yeah.
From the Flash, yeah. Something like that a decade ago, I guess. They have both been crime fighting on their own for a decade, but together for about, 5-6 years. They met at a Superheroes Anonymous support group and they became friends from there. And of course, they were in costumes. So it took them like, maybe they still don't know each other's identity, or maybe they do. It's that also. How do you feel about that?
I think the tension in not knowing who each other really are yet, and the potential of that scene of having to reveal who you are, I think fits perfectly in this game. I love that. I had not considered that as a path we could take, but right, like thinking back on how this game works, it is really these characters playing between duty and longing, right? And so duty being, do I keep that name a secret? And longing being, I want to share myself with this other person, is a really cool, like, a balancing effect there. So yeah, do not know each other's real names. That's awesome. I think, we met at Superheroes Anonymous because there were so many people that got superheroes. And so then our base of operations wouldn't be like an apartment or something, right? Because we don't know each other's real names. So we still keep those private lives private for the moment. So I feel like our sort of base of operations would have to be like the same sort of style as a Spirit Halloween, like a type of, we move around some, but I feel like we rent old office buildings or like places that are or inhabit places that are sort of derelict and beaten down, because I don't know that we have a ton of money, and maybe even we did something like we bought a van and we operate out of a van or something, as low cost as possible base of operations. I think is kind of an interesting idea. Do you have something that sticks out for that for you?
I think van is excellent.
Okay.
It just screams superhero shenanigans. And Daisy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before she was operating out of a van doing her tech stuff. I think that's really cool.
I also think, given this and given the powers that we have, I think this van has like a decal or a sticker on it for a plumbing service. I think that's some of the cover of this group.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yes. And we can sort of come up with the plumbing service name as it comes to us. If there's one immediately that jumps out to you, feel free to say it at any point. I don't have one immediately.
I guess we just combine the names, right? WC Plumbing Services. Or CW. CW would be too on the nose.
Yes. No, I love this. CW Plumbing. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Cool. What brought us together? Superheroes Anonymous. Why do we stay together? Outside of mutual pining. So I think there is a level of like, I don't know about you, but with Chris, it almost feels like there is a fear of what happens if I jump out into the unknown. There is a safety in, right? This is a sort of established partnership at this point. And, you know, they're not having the greatest success. And it might be something that maybe would be beneficial for either of them to jump ship to a more higher powered crew and work with somebody else, or even as a like hench person to somebody of a higher level, right? But I think I know Chris is sort of probably nervous and anxious about the unknown there, and there is a comfort in the mundane and in the day-to-day that they exist. It's not the best, it's not the easiest, but what if they jump out there and it's worse? So I think for Chris, that would be one of the big reasons I think that they stay together. What about with Socket?
I feel like for Socket, it's more when he was doing this alone, it was not fun. It just felt like a job. Ever since he's teamed up with Chris, it's become a little bit more fun to just, it's like, you know, hanging out with a friend. But also their abilities complement each other a lot. And that's also kind of really helpful when it comes to crime fighting, because that is a very important part of it. And if he does, like, he's never considered like going back to doing his own solo thing or joining a bigger team, because he comes from a small town, wasn't really taught to have ambitions or high hopes and dreams. So this is like he's content where he is, kind of thing. Okay. He doesn't know there could be something bigger. Yeah.
Absolutely. The last thing that we forgot to do, usually we do this in the beginning. Socket, you just said, is he, him, and I think Chris is as well. We'll go Chris is he, they, I heard a noise there. Do you want to adjust the he, him, or the pronouns there?
Oh no, he, him works. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, Cold Front I think is he, they. So, okay, cool, perfect. So that is our beginning questions. Is there anything that that you think we might need to address before we jump into rolling scenes?
So far, I don't think anything.
Okay.
And I also feel like based on the vibe so far, we're pretty good at coming up with things on the fly. So if we do need something, I think we can make it so, borrow a catchphrase, and it'll just be what it is. Yeah, I think that works.
I love that. So the way this game is played is you only need 2 players, copy this game, something to write with, and a single 12-sided die. We're obviously going to each have our own 12-sided die, assuming that you have one within reach. I would bet that you do, but if you don't, I can roll for both of us. And the D12 is just to generate a scene from the prompt list that we're given. And you can create your own prompts out of this if you really want to theme this game up a little bit more. You can hack it slightly, which is one of the joy of simple, easy games like this, is you can modify them thematically really, really easily if you want. And so what'll happen is we'll generate this prompt. We are going to play a scene together. We don't have a general rule, but I'm a couple of minutes on a scene is what I'm expecting here. And then we decide, when the scene ends, we decide how we think our characters acted in the scene. Some scenes will ask this of both players, and some will just ask it of one of us, the person who rolled, I assume. And then if there was affection showed, or you allowed your actions to be directed by your feelings for the other character, then we mark a pip on the longing side. If you deny your feelings to focus on the mission, it's marked on the duty side. So really, like, whatever the big factor is for your movement in those times is going to move us towards will they, won't they, right? And we'll do this a bunch of times. I'm hoping to get all 12 in, or some version of all 12. But it depends on how long we take per scene, right? So if the game ends when we decide it ends, or if anybody fills up fully the duty or longing side of their bars, and then can't add another pip, and then we resolve based on that. So, let's get going. Do you want the first roll, or shall I?
Please go ahead.
Okay. So, hey, how appropriate. My first roll was a 1. Scene, you're back to back and surrounded by goons. How in sync are you as you fight? And in this, both players are supposed to mark their tracks based on how we each do in the scene. So I think this is pretty early on. Maybe 3-4 years in. Well, I guess if they've been fighting for 10 years, we'll just start at that. So this is shortly after we have been dispatched to the easiest place is like a warehouse, right? So I'm thinking a warehouse. Who do we think we're fighting? What sort of goons or I'm thinking these are people maybe with even lesser powers than us, but there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's the Fire Force. That's what they're called.
The Fire Force.
And
okay.
Yeah, and they don't have fire powers. They just carry around flamethrowers and shit. Well, not flamethrowers, literally, but like maybe Molotovs or I don't know, something, lighters.
Yeah.
And a spray can and a lighter is what they do.
I really like the idea. I grew up out in a very rural area, and one of the things some people would have are these giant weed burners that are basically long pipes connected to tanks of propane that you would light the end. and it literally is a small flamethrower that people can own. But it does not look professional super much at all. It usually like they're sort of rusted and like left out a little bit. And I like that like one of them has like welding equipment. So I really like the idea of them having like assorted heating elements and things like that. So,
yeah.
I think so I think we're backed up, and part of what has backed us up side by side in this is they have created a very large like heating element or UV ray type thing that has sort of dried up some of the moisture in the air. And it's overwhelmed my cold, and it's sort of gotten rid of some of the moisture here. So I think that's somewhat rendered us a little bit inert, even more than we already kind of are. What else would you like to add to the scene?
You mentioned that this was like early on in the partnership, right? So we don't really.
Yeah, so I think I said that, and then I remembered we established we'd been hanging out for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I backtracked that a little bit. But we still don't know each other's personal lives, so it still could be considered early if you want to do that.
So I'm just trying to like figure out, like, are these scenes supposed to be in sequence? Can they be shuffled around? What is the vibe for the game?
I think that they're in sequence right now. I think that makes it easiest, because I think it's really hard to figure out where the duty longing like sort of
fair enough
goes. If we start at the end, right? But you could do it. There's no specific guidance from the game. I think just for our first playthrough, it makes the most sense to do it chronologically. So that's what I would lean towards. But if you have a specific pitch for something else, I am flexible here.
No, it makes sense now that I think about it. It is present day. It is today. We've been fighting for a while, and we get dispatched to fight these fire dudes. And I don't have anything else extra to add to that. Yeah.
Perfect. I think back to back, sort of surrounded by these heater type people. I think there is a moment where Chris and Socket are sort of trying to communicate and sort of whisper back and forth, and I think that's sort of where we jump in here. If this is it, buddy, it's been good. It's been good fighting with you.
Just in the middle of dodging punches or throwing punches. Shut up. This is not. We don't die here in a stupid warehouse surrounded by a bunch of fuckos. That's not how we go out. We go out on top, right? Dean Winchester style with a rebar through our spine. Sorry for spoilers, but we don't die like this. And just reaching around to reassuringly like pat whatever part of his body he can get to closest while still maintaining defensive position. That's yeah. It's fine. We got this.
And I think I do think Chris goes to respond and does turn their head a little bit and absolutely gets socked in the gut. I think they get just punched right in the stomach as they do that, and so you just hear, "Cool, that'd be great. All right." So, okay. How about do you want to? Is this time for one of those like combo move or something. I don't. Oh God. All right. I really need to attend more boxing classes.
Okay. Give me a boost up. Let me try something. And I think the force for the entire, like, whatever they're doing to remove the moisture is like concentrated in the area that we're in. So Saket is trying to get, or Water Wizard is trying to get Cold Front to give him a boost so they can push him out somehow. Like, I'm assuming it's a sphere. So like if you push him out of the sphere's influence, potentially could jump over, or like some shenanigans he can do to get more water in to damage the UV, the equipment that they're using with his water abilities.
Yeah. So I think Chris is absolutely going to try to do this. I think there's like a hot second where like some of the there is like the lift starts to happen, and then I think Chris gets thwacked in like the face by some of the people that are punching them for a minute, and there's a drop, and they have to try it again. I think because it's like for sure this is a maneuver that they're trying to keep us contained. I think so. All right, we're gonna try this again. This time, I'm gonna need you to move a little bit faster on that up. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Just don't get hit in the face again, right? There's only so many times I can patch you up.
Yeah, I'll try not to. And like at that moment, I think I'll try not to. There's a duck as somebody comes swinging for Chris's face. And I think this time they're able to get the lift up.
Yeah. So in like extreme superhero fashion, the Water Wizard, kind of with his flowing robes, because he's a wizard, right? So he steps on Cold Front's hand and does like a graceful ass somersault that takes him behind the enemy lines, or like on the other side. And while he's in the air, he feels the moisture return and just breathes a little bit easier before redirecting all of that water, like literally plucking it out of the air and redirecting it towards the electronics in the machine. To reduce the
I like at the same time, I think Chris, trying to just draw attention, starts doing basically their mimic of really bad kung fu movies, trying to convince people that they're about to really pull something off. There's like, right? And he's just making weird noises that make no sense. And like, if you actually were to know martial arts, you'd be like, what's going on with this kid? Like, what's going on? But because it's this moment of weird things are happening, I think there's a pause in the people that are surrounding Chris as the moisture seeps into that machine, because it takes a second or two for moisture to like fry something. So I think there's a quick pause and and I think in that time, I do think Chris gets mauled a little bit. Chris gets just kicked a little bit. So I think, yeah, as the moment that the people that were surrounding both of them realize that Chris is not doing some sort of crazy, insane maneuver that's gonna, put them all in danger, they're like, okay, time to beat this guy up. So yeah.
Saket is doing his best to try to help, but he doesn't really he's not sure how much he can do from here while also focusing on the moisturing. So he tries to get a couple of good kicks into one of the guys, maybe snaps an ankle or something, but that's the closest he can get before without disrupting the moisture flow. And I think after watching Chris get mauled, unable to help, finally there's like this sputtering sound as the generator stops working, and the UV or like whatever they're using for the heat thing, it gives out, and in like excitement, just punches the closest bad guy while just yelling over to Chris, get out, or it should be fine now. You can freeze their asses, and just tries to help by now trying to create moisture above or like around the goons around them, so like Chris can use that moisture to freeze the air and them, hopefully.
Absolutely. I think as this pause happens and you see you're good now. Yeah, I think Chris is like crawling between somebody's legs trying to get out. I think there's just a moment where he crawls out like between somebody's legs. And then he goes, all right, it's time for frostbite. And I think because one of the things that they were using on us is these like flamethrowers and things. All of these have very fiddly like dials and things on them. And if your hands are really cold and you can't feel them, that's really hard to operate. And so I think Chris is like, yeah, you know that feeling when your hands are so cold you can't feel them? Chris is trying to do this on everybody. I would say it's successful here. It's a little bit weird sometimes playing this game with like, there's no roll of whether or not I succeed. We just sort of say we succeed.
Yeah, do I hit or no?
Right. I'm so used to games that you like have that. Do I succeed? That it's a little bit weird. Just like, yeah, this happens sometimes. So, yeah, and I think their hands sort of get really cold, like not damagingly cold. Right, this is an actual frostbite that I'm giving them, but it is, like I said, a numbing cold. Okay, we got it. Did you fully disable that heat ray, whatever we're calling it?
I think so. And he just kicks it a couple of times just to make sure. And yeah.
Can I say when it kicks it, that it kicks back on?
Oh no!
That would be hilarious.
Fuck! It would, yes, completely. I agree. I didn't do that. No. No. And he's gonna try to turn it around, so it's pointing in the other direction, so it's not like all centered towards Chris.
And I think Chris is going to sort of move over to it and literally just pull a plug. I think it's just plugged in somewhere. I mean, this. I think if you just take this out, it stops. Is that?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But we could still like break it. That'd be. But I do think they're gonna start getting feeling back in their hands really soon here.
Do you want to steal this so we can take it back to headquarters and like, repurpose it to shoot out cold instead?
That would be cool.
I know, right?
Cool.
Think of like a snow machine, but better.
I like the way you're thinking. Yeah, let's sure, let's do that. How do we get it out of here?
I'm just gonna drag and pull, and you can lift with your legs.
Wait a minute. There's like a garage door over there. I'm gonna go get the van.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think, Chris, it feels a little bit of nervousness in leaving in this moment, but goes to get the van. We'll go ahead.
Saket is just doing his best hero monologue in front of these guys. Just, this is what happens when you don't obey the law. Look at this. You're sitting here with no feeling in your hands, and you got beaten by 2 people. There's like 10 of you. Shame on you. Your families must be so disappointed. And other random spiel while he's dragging the machine closer to the garage door.
So yeah, I think that 2 things happen. Well, a couple of things happen here. So as you are mid spiel there, I think you see this. It's a white van, but it's a white van that has what I call junkyard parts. So like the hood is a different color. One of the doors is a different color. Maybe another door is another color, right? Like it's one of those vehicles that has been pieced together that you can tell from parts of other vehicles, but they haven't had enough time to repaint it so it's a consistent look, or enough money. This comes busting in through a garage door, and the bumper on the front is cracked by this, and there's some damage to the vehicle. And you see Chris come in, bring the vehicle, sort of loop it around, drive it sort of like this, and reach a hand out the window, and that moisture you had condensed in the air freezes on the ground, so that the van slides sideways.
Nice.
And it's not quite good enough to be like a perfect thing. They were trying to miss the group of people, and in fact, it is headed straight for the group of henchmen, and I think the henchmen have to dive out of the way for it, which intentionally causes this extra chaos.
I love that.
Okay. All right. We gonna load this thing up or not?
Yeah. Helps Chris lift it up and put it in the back of the van, shuts the doors, and gets into the passenger seat, and looks out to look at the bad guys and like, think about what I said. And then at full volume, they see me rolling. They hate.
Just crank up the radio. Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Or are they singing this?
No, this is the radio. Yeah.
I love that. And as they're driving away, I think Chris looks up and goes, I feel like we need like a catchphrase, like you've been unclogged, or next time we'll bring the pipe, or wrench meat face. We don't use wrenches. But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, you're right. We probably should something like talk to the frozen hand. I don't know. It's yeah. I got you. No, that doesn't work. I don't know. Do we want it to be like funny? Do we want it to be scary? That's the real question.
I don't know. And I think we fade out on this conversation. I don't think we have to come up with this now.
Yeah.
But I like that that's sort of the end of this scene is. So to answer the questions from that first scene, the real question was, how in sync were we as we fight? And I think not super. I don't know that we were that in sync. at least at this point, even after 10 years. And so I know that Chris, it felt like, was motivated very much by duty there. So I'm thinking about adding a pip to my duty side. Where were you coming from with Socket?
Yeah, I think the same. It was especially when like he jumped out to do the moisture thing. I think he was thinking more about how is this going to help the team versus I need to help my friend.
Yeah.
So it was more about get the job done, get out, instead of any relationship or any longing thing. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so we both took a point in duty there.
Yeah.
You wanna? You have a D12 over there, right?
Yeah.
I figured, but just in case. You want to give that a roll and see what we come up for our second scene?
Yeah. I just want to ask if now if we get a point in longing, does that add a point to longing, or do we remove one from duty?
It moves it back over, so that brings us to even. As I
okay, cool.
I understand.
Makes sense.
Let me double check real quick. No, actually, we keep one duty. So really, we're working to either for duty or for longing.
Okay, makes sense.
So it just adds. The way the graphic is set up in the actual document makes it look like it's one that you move one over or move one over. That is not the case.
Okay. I rolled an 11, which is someone attempts to goad you during a fight with personal jabs and assumptions about your relationship. Do they get a rise out of you? And this is only I get to track on this one.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think this time we are fighting against somebody who can like shapeshift.
Nice.
They're generally, I think, more powerful than we are, but we're able to sort of keep them at bay, working together as much as possible. So I kind of like that idea. What sort of shape-shifting shape do you think they're in right now?
I think to keep in line with the prompt, they are shape-shifting between the two of us.
Oh.
To try to mess with the other person, right? That's what they're trying to do.
That's good.
And like, yeah, and trying to get in our heads with that, like, you wouldn't hurt your friend, would you? Or like something like that. And it's like they see this is someone we have fought before, someone who's like we put away before, who's come back, and kind of like our one of our major nemesi, whatever. Yeah, and so like they understand us, we understand them, and this is the first time that they are shapeshifting into one of us. Usually it's just like random people where they try to escape, or once they shapeshifted into the person who gives us our orders, whose identity was revealed during a secret plot a while ago. But this time it's like they've been doing research on us, and they're using what they've learned to mess with us. I think that's what they're doing here.
So let me establish this early, because I have a feeling it doesn't feel as much like what I'm doing in this scene as much as what the enemy is doing. So I might take on the role of the enemy here, if you're okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But do we believe this enemy is like insinuating at a relationship here, or making fun of like the duo and the perceived friendship? I think it would be interesting to do the relationship, but
yeah, I agree.
Okay,
I agree. I think it's they pretend. It's like if we're setting the scene, it could be like while chasing them, we get separated, and then this one shows up. It's them pretending to be Chris, and
wait.
They try to make a move, right? Something like that.
So wait, are you positing that we're separated in this moment?
Yeah, while running after them, we like split a path. There's like two ways they could have gone, and we both pick one.
I like this.
Like that, yeah.
I like this a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as you're running, it's sort of, I think it's sort of like a dock space, right? Like you see in movies, those dock spaces with all of the different like shipping crates, and it's sort of created like a maze.
Yeah.
And so you guys, we each take separate directions through the maze, and at one point, it looks like Chris converges back with Socket. You find him?
No, did you? Well, I guess not. But how did he get past us? Was there any other paths going off any other directions?
I don't know. I didn't really see a ton.
It's fine. We can double back, or we can keep looking. Is there? I don't know. How high? I'm guessing the crate should be about 10-ish feet high. If they're making a maze, do you want to boost me up? I can just climb up and try to see if we can spot him better.
I mean, all you gotta say is if you want to get close to me.
I think Sake just looks at him slightly, because you know how when a dog is confused, it tilts their head slightly. That's the expression that Sake is giving right now, or like what you can see through the mask. Like, okay, yeah, just boost me up, yeah.
Okay, but first, come on, lean in, give me a quick peck.
We can do that later. We can talk about. Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't hold it.
Oh, that was hilarious. Okay. Immediately, I think Saket will actually lean in, and like about, I would say, like half a foot away, he just the shapeshifty guy, we're calling him Shifty McShifterson because I can't think of a name.
Yes.
And he just that's a superhero name now. That's what it is. He just feels like this huge uppercut hit him right on the jaw from like lower jaw thing. Yeah, I can't describe right now. But he just feels this huge uppercut just hit him. And if Saket was any stronger or was stronger, probably would have lifted him off like 2 feet before he fell. But this is just like, and it hurt Saket probably more than it hurt the shapeshifter. But piece of shit, fucking, and then just pins him to the wall. You don't get to do that. You don't get to pretend to be caught and just hits him again. And just, I think it's a mixture of rage and embarrassment and how does he know? All three of those, that's just in those punches.
I think that the real Chris actually rolls up while you are like rage beating the crap out of this person. Whoa. I think Shifty's had enough.
Is that you? Is that really you?
Right. And I think in the beating of Shifty, I think that they have shifted out of Chris's face. I will say.
And he's just breathing heavily. I think it's probably blood dripping down his hands. He looked like you, and he said things, and he did piece of shit. Are you okay?
And I think you hear Shifty from the ground. Ooh, lover boy is here.
Shut up! There's another kick in the guts.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, I'm fine. I got the them, the shift resistant cuffs here. We can just, you don't need to do permanent damage. We just need to get them that they've got a warrant out for tax evasion. So
tax evasion, of course. Okay, give me the things. Yeah, of all the things, of course he gets Al Pacino'd. Wait, no. No, wait, no. That's not who he is. What's No, it's Al Pacino now. That's the name of the.
It's Al Pacino. Yeah, absolutely. In this universe, Al Pacino gets caught with Al Pacino's many crimes for tax evasion. That's how they catch Al Pacino. This is.
God damn it.
God, I love it. That's so much better than the reality. Which, by the way, just in case you were wondering, the person you were referring to is Al Capone.
Yes, that. Yeah, I completely forgot his
There
name.
you go. I figured, but it was too funny, so I couldn't save you in that moment. But in this world, Al Capone is named Al Pacino. So just so we're aware. Yeah, I think that is. Do we want to do more of this scene real quick? I know that derailed us a little bit, or should we put the tallies on it?
I think that should be okay. Just the drive back is very quiet, and even if Chris tries to press about what was said, Saket is very tight-lipped and just doesn't want to talk about it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Chris does a little bit of pressing, but like there's a little bit of like when your coworker doesn't really want to talk, and you're kind of like, all right. So at that moment, the crank up, they see me rolling. Okay. So what do we think for that one? Obviously, they got a rise out of you.
Yeah.
Is that a pip for duty or a pip for longing?
I think it's longing. Almost for a second, he wanted it to be real. Mm-hmm. And even though it was very weird and not in any way how Chris would react, but like just, the thought of it. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, okay, I'm gonna roll for our next scene, and mark one longing. There we go. Okay, so our next scene is 5. Your partner has become trapped due to falling debris. How are you trying to help them? Are you obviously panicked? Okay. So I think we are facing somebody who is like a tech type person, but they're specifically in demolitions. And so we were, I think, lured to an empty bank building that had been sold or something, and this person like caved the bank, like the building down on us. And I think Chris happened to just be in the perfect spot that like there was like a big window that like fell in that spot, right? You know how in movies sometimes you have the wall fall down and there's just the perfect spot for the person.
Yeah.
So I think that is what happens to Chris. Socket, however, I think gets trapped somewhere. Maybe they were in the vault. The vault seems very crush resistant, right?
Yeah.
So it's somewhere where they're not under the shape of rubble, because I don't know with our superpowers, unless we've also got super resistance to things. But I guess this is the question for you. Do you want Socket to be in life danger, like pinned, or do you want it to be trapped and us like a slow burn danger, like a running out of air type thing? Or like what version of danger would you like Socket to be in, as it is kind of your character here? So
I think since we're trying to do the whole romance arc, right? If we do it where Socket pushes Chris out of the way into safety and he himself gets pinned, maybe it's like a bar, or maybe it's just like a load-bearing bar thing. It's not that heavy, but it's the something like help is on its way. You just need to keep him conscious till we get there. That's the kind of thing.
Okay.
So like he's not in danger, but if he passes out, the blood loss and everything could cause serious damage. That's what it is. Kind of. So that is not like, because we don't have superpowers, those kind of superpowers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So obviously got hit by something on the way down. I think. Yeah. I think immediately, as this sort of building comes around and Chris gets sort of shoved out of the way, immediately, there's a moment where Chris looks over and you see sort of the demolition expert who calls himself Demex, because why not? Is sort of walking away with the trigger button, cackling. And there is a moment where Chris is sort of frozen, weighing the possibility of, do I run after them, or do I stay here and do what I can, and the rubble of the bank starts to shift more, and you can see some rocks start tumbling, and I think that makes up Chris's mind for him, as he starts digging in and pulling out rubble. And these aren't like massive chunks of rubble. These are small enough to move by your hand, bits of rubble, obviously, Socket has like a concussion or like some blood loss and is sort of loopy, as Chris is sort of keeping them awake. Hey, Chris, stick with me here. We can't. You gotta stick with me here, Socket. You there? Socket, are you? Can you hear me?
What? Huh?
You gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta stick with me. All right. Tell me. What did you have for breakfast, Socket? Just talk to me here. Just
I don't know, just eggs and some of that fancy orange juice. The good kind, not the cheap kind.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you a story right now. There once were these two friends, and they spent a bunch of time together, and they were like really like important, and they helped some folks, and one day one of them said, "Hey, I'm getting out of this business," and the other said, "Hey, me too," and they retired happily ever after and played like backgammon or like chess at a retirement home together. Like, doesn't that sound like a nice story?
I mean, couldn't they, like, I don't know, play basketball or something? Backgammon, really? Of all things? He just laughs, coughs up a little bit of blood, and he's like, "Oh, that's not good." And overly dramatic, right, Chris? If I'm dying, if this is it, if this is the end of the great water wizard, make sure they. And he's trying to keep a brave face. He doesn't really know what the situation is. Make sure they construct a giant ass Superman like monument for me, and give me the best parade, and like carry me across every street, and
You got it.
it's fine.
You got it.
Yeah.
I'll make sure they put your goofy ass grin on it too. And I do think Chris is the type that carries like a handkerchief, and so like the coughed up blood, Chris takes and mops it up off there. Like I don't know whether it was like, I don't know if they turned and spat or what, but like there's usually like a little bit of dribble or something, right? Like
Yeah.
that goofy ass grin of yours, so that everybody else has to look at it like I have to.
What, are you collecting my DNA so you can clone me? Is that what's happening?
I mean, if I could get one with worse or with less bad jokes, I'd trade you out in a second.
What? I thought we had something special. It's this is wow, learning so much. On your deathbed, you learn so much about the people closest to you.
Here's the thing, I gotta keep you, because it's really hard to do plumbing without the water guy. You
So that's all that I'm good for. Yeah,
making this all about you.
Yeah. Well, I'm the one dying here, so I think that's warranted. My leg hurts. Oh, my leg! I'm trying so hard to take this seriously.
I do think there's a moment of like, all right, let's get you back to the van. And Chris is not normally a very strong individual, but I think there is a moment where Chris goes, "Is it one leg or both legs?"
Both, I think.
Okay.
The right one hurts more, but I think it's both.
Okay. We're gonna do a piggyback. All right. I'm gonna sort of get you kind of lifted up here, and they're gonna sort of pull them up a little bit. You go, okay. Put your arms around my neck, and we're gonna and sort of like try to hop them onto Chris's back. Oh God! Did anybody tell you need to lay off the donuts?
Okay. Wow, rude. I'm dying here, and that's all you got. That's the best joke you can come up with, really?
You've lost a pint of blood and you're still fucking heavy. What?
It's not easy being this big and this beautiful. Okay.
And I think they'll get back to the van after that. I love that. Yeah, I think that was easily a Pippin longing, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So, because I think there is. It wasn't obvious panic, but 100% there was a moment of like, oh shit. I don't care what the villain is doing here. I need to help this person, and there's that freeze of what is life like without them if they die, which I think, let's be honest, pun intended, chilled Chris to the bone. Yeah. Okay, we are both at one duty and one longing. I don't know if we're supposed to be announcing this or if it's supposed to be like a secret, but I'm keeping track of it for the viewers, I guess, right? So what's our next scene?
Oh yeah, I got a 7.
A 7.
It's a quiet night, and the two of you are watching your territory from a rooftop. How do you pass the time? I think this is as much as they would want it to be different. Unfortunately, about 80% of their superheroing is just stakeouts.
Yeah.
For the bigger superheroes to come in and do the actual superheroing, right? So they're pretty much used to this. They both have I'm assuming they both have go bags that are filled with snacks and sodas and other things that they just have on hand. They're always warm because Chris can just make them cold whenever they need to drink it, and it's always just coming up with new ideas for gear or maybe some merch, or that's how they usually do these takeouts.
Can I modify that slightly?
Yeah, of course.
Because their base of operations is a van, I don't know that there are go bags. I think that they have built shelves into the side of the van with sort of like a grate that locks the things in, like bookshelves, right? And sometimes they forget to lock the grate. And so during a moment where they have to take off, I think sometimes those grates will come open and things will fall off the shelves.
I love that.
Cool. I was like, we've got something to bring our stuff with us. I think that's amazing to have storage built into the van. So could be interesting. We could be coming up with merch, like you said. I have another pitch. We don't have to do it. But I have another pitch of what if we're trying to work on this heat ray to turn it into a freeze ray? What if we're sort of fiddling with that?
Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, I think that's a very good way to spend time, especially when it's just a stakeout.
Yeah. Perfect. And then I think which one of us is the techier person? Because I have an idea, but I don't want to. I want to hear yours first.
I have not thought about it. Yeah, I think if you have an idea, let's roll with it.
Yeah, I feel like Chris is the techier person in the two.
Yeah. And Saket is more there to make it look pretty than to make it look functional, is what he's trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Saket is a really good ideas guy.
No, I meant this specific item. He wants to paint it blue and give it snowflakes and particularly that way. Yeah.
Perfect. So I think as we come into the scene, the first thing that happens is Chris is sort of working on. I feel like we start with one of us in the back and one of us in the front, because you still need to have a look out at the windows, right? And so Chris is in the back working on the potential freeze ray, and Socket is in the driver's seat looking out through the windows. And as soon as we come into the scene, there's a flash from the back as Chris has accidentally touched both ends of a capacitor and has shocked themselves. And you just hear Chris cursing up a storm. God damn it. I thought I discharged this thing properly.
Did you do the earthing thing properly? He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just the water guy, but I can get some dirt if you need to do more the earthing.
Thanks. It's already done though. Oh God. Is anything good happening out there?
The usual. Couple of dumbasses go in, couple of dumbasses come out. They have pizza though. We don't have pizza. Why do we not have pizza?
I mean, I don't have a ton of money in the budget for pizza. I don't know if you've got some of your discretionary spending. But if we
spent most of it on the blue paint for the thing.
Also, why did you have to go brand name on that?
I don't know. It looked nicer. Longer life.
The
Looked pretty.
store brand stuff was like half the price, and we would have had money for pizza.
Yeah, lesson learned for next time, I guess. Yeah, you're right. But like, you can't rush creativity either, right? So like, yeah, like, would you use shitty wiring in your items? No, right? So then, shitty paint also doesn't work. So
I mean, true, but not really. I don't think those things are equivalent, but I don't know.
hey, like, it needs to look physically imposing as well. It can't just be another run of the mill whatever thing. People need to see it and they need to be terrified of it, right? And I feel like I'm talking like a supervillain now, but that's not the point.
Yeah, it does seem very villainy.
Do you want to just switch careers? We can just go knock on the door, join them.
I do think
Easy.
we'd have more money for pizza if we were villains.
Right?
I
It's kind of bullshit that the good guys get no money at all, funding. So I feel like the government should give us something more, or the state should sponsor some more shit. But no, it's all the money that goes to the drug dealers and the fucking mercenaries and other shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, like, there are a couple of ways to get money, like grant paperwork and stuff, but have you tried filling that out?
It is complicated on purpose. I feel like they do it like that because they don't want to give us the money.
I agree. And then it inevitably goes to some, useless group that's not doing anything actual in the area. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not bitter.
No, of course not. You're the sweetest. Like, of course, you're not bitter at all. And then he just pauses to think about what he said. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that.
Chris, I don't think knows what to do with that. So I think they just go back to working on stuff for a second. Are you sure you don't have like? Are you sure you've recovered from that head injury? By the way.
Oh, yeah. Thick-headed, right? Yeah, I'm good. Legs work fine too. Although, still haven't gotten the stench of your sweat out of my nostrils. I still smell that whenever I'm walking around because of the piggyback.
May it haunt you for the rest of your days.
Totally worth it, though. Like, you saved my life, so
I mean, that's the price. You got to pay the piper. So anyway, I do think we're probably gonna need to get some more supplies for this at some point. But I feel like it'd be kind of cool, since we have this thing taken apart, if we were to like carve our names or like, I don't know, do something so if somebody ever steals this, they know who made it and like whose badass creation it was.
Yeah. That sounds like a good. It gets a little bit flustered, huh? Yeah. And also, since it's been taken apart, do you want to like add a music player to it so we can carry one around? We don't need if we don't have the.
I mean, could be good. The band's been stuck on the same CD since the 1980s.
Good music, though, right?
I mean, it fits us pretty well.
Yeah. I think he's going to abandon his post, come to the back, and pull out a... How do you want to do this? Like with a pen, or do you want to like carve it with like something sharp, like a knife or something?
I mean, I think something sharp would hold better.
Yeah.
A pen you can usually just like wipe off.
Fair. He's gonna pull out a key to the car. Actually, the car keys, the van keys. He's gonna use those to scratch his initials in there. He's gonna
So here's the question: actual initials or superhero name initials?
Actual initials.
Interesting. Okay. I think. What is we? So here's I guess the other questions. We developed a first name for Socket. Do we develop a second name? Is there a surname for Socket?
I haven't thought of one, but let me just. You go for Chris first. Let me think.
Okay. I'm trying to make Chris into a bit of a pun here. 1 second. It could be fun to name them Chris Glacial. But I thought about naming them like Chris Tall, because that would be really fun. It'd be very comic book superhero-y for them to be named Chris Tall.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to do it for the bit. So yeah, they are KT. And I think they're a junior. Or the second? A junior. So they get KTJR.
I like that. Okay. I think Socket's last name is Carson, like Carson but with an O. And the reason for that, here's the funny whatever. Socket is a Hindi Sanskrit word that means a place close to the heavens.
Okay.
And Carson is kind of like a name for like a demonic kind of name. And I think it's like a really cool, funny thing to put those two together.
There are two wolves.
Yeah. It was really funny. So.
Oh, that's really good. Okay.
So it's going to be SC. Yeah.
SC. I don't think Chris realizes, or Cold Front realizes. I realize I've never referred to them as Cold Front. That Chris realizes that they both signed their real initials, or different initials, until after.
I think same for Socket as well.
And I know Chris will get quiet, sort of mulling that over for a minute.
Well, I guess Socket's gonna try to fill the silence. The cat's out of the bag or whatever. He's gonna reach his, put out his hand.
It doesn't have to be out of the bag.
I feel like it's been 5 years, right? If I don't know your name, who am I gonna call out when I can't sleep at night, right?
And Cold Front is obviously nervous about this.
You don't have to. It's fine. No pressure at all from me. Yeah. I understand. It's a big deal, and secret identities are secret for a reason. So you can take your time.
Okay. I don't. I don't know where I sit on this.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. We don't have to address it. It's fine. It's whatever you're comfortable with is okay with me.
and they get sort of fidgety. It's Chris. It's Chris. It's just, you know what? I've trusted you with my life. I can trust you with my name.
I appreciate that. You can call me Socket.
Socket. Okay.
And then he's gonna wait 5 seconds, and he's gonna be like, like the fake loud. Hey everybody, the Cold Fran's real name is Chris.
I think there's a moment, because they are so amped up, where Chris like grabs the front of the jacket and pushes them against the van. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's all very it's first time here.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was trying to lighten the mood, and I made a stupid joke. It's my bad.
It wasn't stupid. I just, okay, maybe it was a little stupid, but oh, hey, look, I think we're out of solder. I may need to run out to get some. Do you need anything while I'm out?
I mean, not really. We do have some snacks somewhere. Should be okay. I'll keep an eye out. Keep you updated if anything pops up.
Okay. And I, because Chris does not like, from the 30,000 foot view of this character, right? I don't know that this is obvious to us in the van, but Chris does not know how to gracefully exit from this sort of encounter.
Valid.
And so I think they're like, first thing I can think of, we need more supplies. Page me if we need to take off somewhere.
Yeah, sounds good.
And I think he'll exit the sort of back of the van. And I think okay. I don't. So, in the U.S., one of the weird features of Walmart is that it allows overnight parking in certain places. So people will like park their RVs in Walmart parking lots, and they're like 24 hours sometimes. So I would think it would be very funny if we are parked in like a superstore parking lot. And go out to get supplies is literally hop out and there's just this big superstore.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
And that's where we can kind of fade out on that scene, I think, unless you'd like to do more.
I think that's a good point for that scene.
Perfect. All right, so we each sort of do our track. Duty or longing?
I think the first quarter of this was mostly duty for Saket, but like when he was talking about the colors, the scheme and everything, but like after that it definitely was longing. Like pushing against the wall, names being revealed, that's definitely longing.
Yeah. I think the strongest, it really was a 50-50 fight for Chris. But I think longing did sort of win out in the end. So I'm going to say longing for Chris as well.
Yep.
All right. Where did my D12 go? There we go. Okay. No, I'm gonna re-roll that. There we go. I'm so far re-rolling ones that we've not rolled before, or we've rolled before. Okay, because I rolled 2 of them that we'd already done, and I think it's too early to start redoing.
Yeah,
and it's more fun to explore other prompts to start with, at least. So your partner has been captured. Where and how are they being held? And what lengths do you go in order to rescue them? I think I like this idea of the like evil genius with a giant laser ray, like Bond level, like trying to cut somebody in half, like contraption. What do you think for something like that?
I think that fits. Except like maybe instead of going Bond level, since we are not that strong, it's more like they're trying to, what could be like street level.
Yeah, I mean, there's access to like old mills, or you could have it be. I keep coming back to like warehouses with like production equipment, a junkyard. Like I know lots of like gangster movies have people in junkyard cars that are getting crushed. That seems especially brutal, but like is accessible to lower level villains for sure.
Yeah, maybe they run like a chop shop, and we've been investigating them, and they catch a wind, and they take Saket to the, that works.
Yeah. So I think the way this starts is Saket gets captured, and the only thing that they can to tell Chris about it is just an SOS on the pager. Because I don't think they have enough money to like do like an earbud style system. I think that they're like, we have pagers, and not wanting to get out their personal cell numbers because that's can be tracked back to their actual name. Burner cell phones and pagers are the way to go.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, I think Saket just gets an SOS, or a specific message. Like I don't know if there's a pre-done message to say I've been caught, or like, but yeah. So Saket, I think, was in the van sort of monitoring the outside of the chop shop from maybe a couple of like parking lots down or something, with like binoculars, right? They've got them up. Like, okay. All right. Chris is I'm trying to see. So this was.
We could just make this like the next scene to what we just did, right? Chris has gone looking for soldering stuff while Saket is still there, monitoring the chop shop. It just flows.
Okay.
Really well.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Chris.
Chris gets the page, and by the time he gets back, the van is gone. Like they took the whole fucking van, right? And Saket's missing, and the ice machine's gone. Everything's just gone. Gotcha. There's not even tire treads that are like indicate that something sped away or something. Yeah.
I like the idea of Saket, or of Chris. Dang it, of Chris needing to get a ride share to go and save Saket. So I think Chris dials up a ride share or a taxi or something like that, and is like, hey, I gotta go pick my car up from the shop. And we can see as they pay for this, they have like $15 left in their account, and this ride costs like $13, and the tip is going to be about $2. So this is all the money that they have. This will put them at 0 in the bank account to do. And without hesitation, this is something that they do. All right. And they roll up, I think, and there are like some posted guards at the front of it. Like, they look like they're working at the chop shop, but anybody who knows any idea of what's going on out here knows that these are not regular workers. And I think Chris is going to they're kind of standing close to each other. So Chris is going to make a cold patch on the back of one of their, like someone put an ice cube down the back of somebody's shirt, and make them sort of start trying to fight each other of like, why'd you do that to me, you jerk? Right? Like a distraction level event here. And try to climb up a gutter to get to the roof, to kind of get an idea of where Socket might be, because they're not sure. They've never seen inside of the chop shop. They don't know where anyone would be, so just running in the front doesn't do them any good at this moment. Where in the chop shop do we think Socket is?
He's probably in one of the cars about to be crushed. I think we're going with that is like the guy is standing over him with his hand on the trunk, and he's just doing his villain monologue. And Socket, his hands and legs are bound, but his mouth is open, which the villain realizes is pretty much was the worst thing he could have done, because now he's shouting obscenities at him and insulting his mother and others, and just being like, shame on you for this. Really, are you gonna crush me in a car? Could it be any more cliche? Like come on, this is like villains 101, what we learn in like basic villainology classes, right? And this is how you're taking us down, taking me out. Really, there's no creativity, no ambition, no vision, nothing. What is wrong with you lot, really? And just annoying the fuck out of this guy while also stalling for time.
Absolutely. And I think as so then knowing hearing some of the machinery in the back, I think instead of climbing up on the gutter, I think they're gonna find their way around to the back. Okay. Yeah, I think there is probably a moment where they're like climbed on a pile of like destroyed cars, and Chris is looking for like something, and he was looking for a tire iron and settles for a windshield wiper blade. He goes, it'll be what it'll be. Shit. Okay. Let's go do this thing. And I think jumps out and just hurls the windshield wiper blade at the villain in their villain monologue. Your windshield is foggy. Wipe it off. And sort of I think the move here is throwing the wiper blade and also momentarily freezing the bottom of his shoes so he can't dodge. And as he leans back, he tips over. Got him. The classic freezing the shoes trick. And I think it starts to pop open the trunk here. I think in doing so, one of the things that I think in doing so and in climbing on things, I think one of the things that happens is their wallet falls out. Chris does not know this. But they're able to sort of freeze the lock on the trunk because they don't have the keys for the trunk, and pop it open. You're not a puddle yet, are you?
Saket has hurling obscenities this entire time, even with the trunk closed, and he's like, "Oh, you're back, you oh, it's you." Yeah, I'm. No puddles. Well, down. Okay, no puddles yet. I'm okay. Feel me. I'm tied up. Untie me, whatever.
I don't have. I don't have anything to cut that with. So we're just gotta get you out of here.
Are you kidding?
You took everything.
What do you mean? Where's the van?
I don't know.
Did you not find it? We can't just leave the van here, right?
I haven't. Look, did you want to survive or did you want us to find the van? Because I had to pick one.
No, that's fair. I appreciate you, but get me out.
And I think Chris is going to go ahead and make the bindings colder, so that they're more brittle, and try to break them apart. I don't know if it's like you got to work with me here, Socket. And I think together they can break them apart. I don't think Chris can on his own.
Yeah, Sake is gonna kind of like water as a. He's gonna create a little bit of moisture and use the wave of water back and forth against the bindings, trying to cut while Chris is freezing it and unfreezing it. I think the thing causes the ropes to break, and the villain is still on the ground, gets a kick in the for good measure. And do we take him back, or are we just running? What are we doing?
Okay, so this place has like 30 henchmen that we would have to fight through to get. Do you think you can take on 30? Do you think you got that?
No, but if we get the van, we can just run.
If we get the van, if we get the van, we're gonna get shot probably.
No, but if we use him as a hostage.
If we use him as a hostage, this guy's an asshole. You think his folks are gonna care?
I mean, he does pay them. Fucko, do you pay your henchmen properly or no? I'm assuming the guy still passed out cold, so.
I think so too. I that wasn't my original idea for him, but I like that he's passed out cold. Yeah. So absolutely. What? Yeah. I mean, we could try, but.
Listen, the ice machine is in the van, right? We can't as well.
But we'll just have to come back for it. I think we just have to come back for it.
Okay, yeah.
And
I'll follow your lead then, yeah.
Yeah. Chris, I think, is going to find it's a semi-functional vehicle at the very front. And it's like a Jeep without the doors, and or like an old like Crown Victoria. Like it's an old vehicle it's surprising that it still runs, right? The hood is gone. It's like on 3 replacement tires, but it's enough. It moves so it can get them out of there. And I think they drive out. Okay. So we're going to have to figure out how to get the van back. But
Yeah.
good news.
That's twice you've saved my life.
I mean, we all know that's why you keep me around. So, you know, got to make sure you. I'd feel bad if you were to die. So, you know.
I think that's the nicest thing you ever said.
That's just because you're never listening to me.
It does get a little bit annoying to hear the incessant yap in your ear. Yeah, I do tune you out sometimes.
I says, you tune me out. This is. You realize that half the time we're hanging out, I'm wearing earplugs, right?
Wow. Okay. I'm just not going to talk anymore. It's fine.
That would be much more peaceful.
Okay, I see how it is.
I think that's a good good fade out there. I think in losing the wallet and leaving the van behind, that can't be duty. So
yeah,
I'll make a mark there. All right, your time for rolling. Actually, before we introduce this next scene, do you want to take a quick break? We can do a quick bio break here. Awesome. We'll be right back.
Yeah, that works.
Give us just a couple minutes. Welcome back to the One Shot Wonderarium. I am your host, as always, Tony, and I'm here with Steve of Pantsless Tables. And we are playing some superheroes who who are in love, but do not realize that the other is also in love with them. I am playing Chris Tal Jr., known as Coldfront, who is sort of a little persnickety, a little anxious, and a little more by the book, it seems, sometimes. And we've got Socket Carson, who is Steve's character, the Water Wizard, who is a little bit more... it feels like by the seat of your pants, right? It feels like a little more willing to throw the plans out the window.
Yeah.
The Water Wizard, of course, controls water. Cold Front, of course, is a cold-based power. The way the stats sit, Socket Carson has 1 duty and 2 longing. And Crystal has 1 duty and 3 longing. The way this game works, if you're just joining us, it is Hearts Unmasked, and it is basically a battle between duty and longing to see whether or not this potential relationship / love match will succeed, will become something more than just a superhero tandem. And we are wrapping up here very soon, so let's go ahead. I know, Steve, you had rolled your dice, but I held you from that result while we took a break. So what scene are we doing next?
We're doing, I believe we're doing 10. The two of you encounter each other in your civilian identity. Do you already know each other's secret identities, and how do you interact? So, I feel like we did exchange names.
Yeah.
But we've also both been, I'm assuming, wearing masks this entire time.
Yeah,
so,
some sort of I actually don't know exactly what the identity obscuring thing is. We didn't touch on that, but
yeah.
But we could both go masks.
Yeah. It's some sort of like facial covering, so that we do know each other's names, but we don't know what each other looks like. So it is so like that aspect of it. I think even if we do see each other in public, we might not necessarily recognize each other till we start to talk or something else.
Yeah, I can see that. I think a very interesting place to meet up, by the way, is we did just establish that Chris he has no money and has left their wallet behind in saving Socket. So I think that one of the next things has to be them working somewhere, because you got to have some money to fight crime. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really pay the bills, and you got to eat. Those snacks do not cost $0.
Yeah.
So, I think. Where I actually didn't have an idea of where Chris works, but I'm starting to come up with one, given that they're more the techie person, and it felt like an IT role, but I wanted it consumer facing. So like Best Buy has like the Geek Squad, right? So like I feel like it's sort of a tech fixer role that also is in a place small enough that serves customers, right? So
yep.
One of your iPhone fixer shops, or those types of places.
The Best Buy Geek Squad could be cool, because then maybe Saket's coming in to try to get some supplies as a gift for Chris, as like a thank you for rescuing him, and like just to be nice, And so he's looking for something he's looking for, because he remembers he mentioned some things like soldering or other things. He doesn't really know what it means, but he's here to help. He's here to get some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so there's a couple of different types of supplies that Chris would probably need. There probably some would be as expensive as like, hey, if we could get one of the refrigeration units out of like a chest freezer, that would be help for creating some of the cold we need, because that is one of the few pieces that's really missing. If we there's probably like some antennas and stuff that will help the projection of we'll call them cold waves. That's not how the physics works, but it is in the superhero universe. And then there's some basic like cabling and supply things that they would need. So at what level you want to go there?
Keith is also not that well-to-do off, so something basic is what he's gonna go for.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think. Sorry, the bird woke up while we were on break and has.
No worries.
Doing her morning squawks. You're okay, Fluff. Yeah. So. I think I think you're browsing the stores, and I think the Geek Squad isn't always at the Geek Squad desk. I think sometimes they're probably on the floor helping people, and I think that's probably because like usually you wouldn't go to like Geek Squad for cables, right?
Yeah.
You'd go for tech issues. So I think you're out on the floor looking at things, and I think. Chris rolls up with their bright blue shirt and name tag. Probably a sort of staged pair of headphones around their neck, right? Sort of like this, to give the impression that they're like a hip sort of techie type person. And you know, it really helps sell the effect, but it's like a an old pair or an old display pair that doesn't work. But people don't have to know that. So what you looking for? Can I help you with? You've been in this aisle for a little while.
Yeah, I'm looking for a gift thing for a friend. He's working on this. They're working on this tech thing. I don't really understand. They said something about needing soldering and other things. I'm just trying to be a good friend.
They need soldering and other things. I mean, do we know what kind of a project it is? Is it like electrical? Does it? It's like a TV or a computer or
more like a fridge.
More like a fridge. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably need electrical conductive solder there. I would bet that there's something going on with that. As for cabling,
yeah, what can I get for like $20? Is the real thing. That's all the money I have.
Okay. Yeah. Conductive solder is cheap, but not crazy. You can get a little bit of like moderate cabling as well. You can get like a roll of this grounded wire and some soldering, and there's a deal if you spend $15 or more, you can get a free USB too. So I don't know. Everyone needs USBs, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Probably won't work in the van, but that's not the point. Yeah, we can figure it out.
Cool. Kind of an interesting project.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's kind of like a restoration thing almost. Had the thing that we trying to fix it up to make it not a thing. I don't know how much I can say, or I don't know how much I can even explain it because I don't understand half of it. But yeah.
I may be a bit forward here, but I get this feeling that I've met you before. Are you in here a bunch?
Well, not here because like as you established, my tech skills are like a 3 on a good day. But now that you mention it, yeah. Do you want to? And then immediately goes into flirt mode. Do you want to discuss where we've seen each other over a coffee? What time do you get off?
I mean, that's a little difficult. I have some plans tonight, but I mean, I could push him back for
Yeah,
I think they're malleable. I think that
no pressure either way. Like,
I mean,
I just figured, you're cute and all, and obviously smart. So,
and I think there's a blush and a look down. Chris is not used to anyone being anywhere near this forward.
That's fair. Saket is getting hit with like waves of deja vu at this. So.
Yeah. Sure. You want to? You got a place you want to meet?
There's a really nice coffee shop around the corner. We could meet there.
Yeah. Absolutely. I spend most lunches at the Froth. It's the only place that makes a true pistachio muffin the way it deserves to be made.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree.
And I think that's I'll see you tonight. And there's probably like a call over the radio, like, we need Geek Squad over extra at the desk. Well, I've got to go. I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, you too. Yeah.
And I think we can sort of fade out on that portion of it, and then jump back in a little bit later, probably an hour or two. I think on their sort of secure text messaging line, there is a message from Chris. Gonna be late tonight. Work is running long. I'm gonna have to stay extra.
Saket completely forgot about the thing tonight, because all the distractions and everything. Gets the message and is like, oh shit, fuck. Just replies really quickly. That's a shame. Was looking forward to seeing you, but I guess we can delay it or do it another day. It's fine. See you soon.
Amazing. I think. So yeah. I think now we pop into the coffee shop, right?
Yeah, sounds like it.
So, okay. So yeah, at this coffee shop, Which one of us do you think? I think I know the answer to this, but which one of us do you think is there early? Probably too early. And which one of us do you think shows up a touch late?
I think Saket has been pacing back and forth just outside the coffee shop. So I think he's there early, but he's not. He doesn't go inside. He's outside waiting for Chris, and kind of like, even if he's late, wants to kind of give the impression that he just got here, kind of thing, so that Chris doesn't feel like he was late.
Okay. I think that unbeknownst to Socket, I think Chris has been in there for a little while and is set up at a booth at the back, and is like doodling in the notebook about designs and about plans and about superhero stuff, maybe small additions to the costume, that sort of thing. Because I feel like Chris would be there early.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Saket just looks at, just while pacing, he just looks inside the coffee shop and he sees Chris there and he's like, oh shit, oh no, oh shit, and just immediately runs in without any sense of like, oh, I should be poised about it or whatever. Runs in. I'm so sorry. I got held up. Shit happened. I was hoping to be here before you got off work, but I'm here now. Hi. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you. I realized. I mean, let's get some coffee here. And you can tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Is this more like a sit-down coffee place, or is it more like a Starbucks where you go up to the thing and give your order?
I would say it's more like a Starbucks. I think it's easier for us to wait in line and then take it to a dark corner with some music playing over.
Yeah, makes sense. So standing in line, just so when did you know you were like the smart one?
I mean, there's only so many times your parents can come to you to fix the internet before someone suggests that maybe you should look into working with computers, I guess. I don't know, like I maybe did a little bit of MySpace coding back in the day. I don't know, maybe that has what to do with it. Like it was, there were signs, I guess. I don't know when did you figure out you weren't good with tech, I guess? That didn't come out right.
No, it's fine. It is accurate. I never been good with computers or whatever. Always had people to help me out with that stuff, and just kind of got to a point where it was like, I don't know if I feel like I'm too old to learn about that stuff now. So even though I'm like barely 30, but it just feels like I have different skills. I'm more of the creative type, the artsy type, the telling stories and finding stories or stuff like that, instead of how do things work versus how do they look, kind of thing.
That's really cool. What about you? You got family?
Yeah. I mom, dad, a younger brother. I got a dog. Yeah. My parents live outside the city. Not outside the city, but outside, like a couple hour drive from here. My brother's in He's studying abroad. Like I haven't seen him in a while. But yeah. What about you?
Sort of older sister. Parents aren't around anymore. She moved cross country for a job.
Yeah, that's always rough. It's when you grow up, or your siblings grow up before you. It's been an interesting adjustment with me as well, seeing my brother, take off on his own. I basically, well, not me, but helped raise him and shit. And now he has a girlfriend. They've been together 5 years. Like they're talking about getting married and shit. And it's like, I saw you when you were like this little. It's weird, yeah. But hey, it's always nice to have that support system, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, things you do for fun.
Oh, I like to read. I can write. I can play the guitar sometimes. Basketball is a thing that I used to be good at, and I really like swimming. Sometimes just being in the water relaxes me a lot. So we could, I don't know, go for a swim sometime.
I mean, maybe. Water and I have.
I'm you shirtless, but wouldn't also be against it.
I mean, Water and I have a complicated relationship, so maybe I just stick my toes in.
Yeah, that's fair. Whatever you're comfortable with. What do you want to drink? Do you want something sweet? Do you want something just coffee functional? How do you like your coffee?
I mean, I'm getting a pistachio muffin, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop me about that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And after that, I can have caffeine pretty much any time of day. So I'll probably get my classic quad shot macchiato with some extra hazelnut. I think is generally they know me here. They'll know what to get me.
Yeah, but really, Sam, I've never really tried hazelnut in coffee. Maybe today's the day we try new things.
It's I mean, watch out. It can be dangerous. I've met people that it gives like heartburn to. It's weird. I don't know. But it's great if you can, if it works for you. And I think that they're at the front of the line, and you see the barista up front goes, "Oh, hey, Chris," he fully engrossed goes, "Oh, hey, Jennifer, I'll just, the classic is totally fine with me." And he goes, and also, she goes, "Extra whip?" He goes, "Yep. Yeah, you got it." And he'll go to pull out his card to pay, which of course is not there because he's left his wallet behind.
Yeah. And just gonna put a hand on his shoulder, be like, "It's fine, I got it. It's my treat." And looks up at Jennifer, is like, "Hi, Jennifer. Surprised we haven't run into each other before. Back at Chris before. Yeah, I'll have the usual, but with 1 pump of hazelnut. Trying new things today. And a muffin too. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna put the bill together. Yeah. And yeah.
I feel like Jennifer will go, okay, is the order under Chris or?
No, so, I mean, either way is fine. You can put it on or Saket, it's fine.
And I don't know if Saket can see this, but I think Chris immediately puts it together in the back. Like there is a shot probably from barista view that just shows Chris going. Right? Just that sort of dawning realization hitting in the back. And then as they go to sit down, I think Chris has sort of composed themselves. Is this like a prank? Is this a joke to you?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean, Socket.
What do you mean? I'm afraid I don't.
And then lean in and whisper. You know what I mean, Water Wizard.
Saket's face goes pale, which is very difficult because he's brown, and his eyes go wide. He just looks at Chris, and now he's putting two and two together, and he's like, Chris, no way. Are you fucking with me?
You came and found me at my place of work.
I was looking for a gift for. Looks around for Cold Front, not for. I didn't know you worked there. I was trying to buy you something nice for the cold machine, even though we don't have it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna need to get that back at some point.
So you blew me off for a random stranger? Really?
I mean, obviously, you forgot that we've been spending time together tonight, so.
Okay, fine. I don't have a comeback for that.
You invited me, so I figured you were free.
No, but you didn't know it was me who was asking you.
But okay, you're right. But like, but now I know better.
Yeah, so do I.
And I mean, I thought you had known it. That you, anytime we talk about, this sort of a thing, you sort of brush it off. So I thought you weren't interested in anything with anyone.
I'm not a hermit, Chris.
Some people are hermits. I don't know. How am I supposed to know?
Yeah, it took you 5 years to give me your name, so how would you know whether I like you or not?
I mean, I had my suspicions. But this whole thing's really hard.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. We work together, but also we work together,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So does this change things? Or
I don't see why. Would a crime-fighting duo also went on a date? Maybe more, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Oh God. Okay.
Okay, it's okay. Breathe. Remember your grounding techniques. It's fine. And he leans back and he just Chris process it.
Do you want to go see about getting our van back tonight? Because I have to go do something. I don't know what Um, and if I just have to move.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do something, you can always. And then he just puts like he covers his own mouth. He's like, never mind. Sure, let's go get the van back. Yeah, that works. Are we at least gonna finish our muffins though, and the coffee?
Yeah, we need. Let's go do something. Yeah, let's. And they get up and they have forgotten their pistachio muffin completely.
I think Saket grabs both the muffins and tries to grab both the coffees, but his hands are all crowded with all the stuff, and follows Chris out the door. And just, oi, coffee, muffin, my hands are full.
Oh, yeah. Thank you again. I don't know where my wallet is.
Where do you remember losing it?
Well, I got some of the supplies before you got kidnapped. Maybe I had it the next day. I don't know.
Okay. Shit. Okay. Let's go back to the chop shop, see if we can get the van back, and then take it from there. Yeah.
And I think we can fade out on this. I don't think we have to play through the getting the van back.
Yeah.
But a couple of things that I'd like to have happen in that we can just sort of a bit. I think one, somebody has found the wallet, and so the chop shop people know immediately who Chris is, and have sort of like made a post out. So there's a ton of people at this chop shop. And I think they get the van, but not without one of them, not without consequences. So I'm going to go ahead and roll for our next scene. Okay. All right. So this is, that's perfect. That's awesome. So that's 4. You're both back at your base of operations, one patching up the other after a difficult night. What do you say to each other? So I think, yeah. I think as we get this van, I think something happens. I'm going to say to Chris, Socket, like Chris has saved Socket's life twice already in this. I don't want it to just always be that Chris saves Socket here. So I think Chris gets probably not mortally wounded, but beat up pretty freaking bad.
Yep. I mean, I'm totally okay with being the damsel in distress, but it's perfectly fine. That could work. They get the van back. Do they recover the wallet or no?
I don't know. We could 50-50 that. By the way, that last scene was for sure longing on both of our parts. I would say that's 0 duty. Just FYI. Cool. So, awesome. So yeah, this last scene is I think that's part of why Chris got beat up. Is we got the van, and it'd be easy enough to just drive the van out of there, but he had to go in to like the boss's office to get his wallet.
Yeah.
And
we
try to limit
kicked some ass.
Yeah. And I
kicked some ass, got him sent back to prison, but Chris got hit in the.
Yeah, and I think to mirror our first one, the fire guys are there, and Demex is there. Shifty McShifterson is not, and a few of the other folks. And so you actually see like they're surrounded by we get like a montage of they're surrounded by the fire guys. And this time they're working together and kick their way out of the circle of being trapped by the fire guys. And Demex goes to press the button to blow something up, and Chris is there and he's just holding up a frayed wire of something he's ripped out. The whole setup, and then they go in, and Chris gets crap beat out of him. And I'm sure Socket gets beat up as well, but not to the level, right?
Yeah, so, that makes sense.
So yeah, do you want to sort of take the lead on this one? Socket, I think it's laying in the back by the potential cold ray.
Yeah, I think Socket's going to pull over into an alley and just park the car, get out of the seat and go into the back and check on Chris. There's a light probably up on the thing. Okay, where does it hurt?
I don't know how to tell you this. Oh God. But it hurts in the knife wound, and we both look down, and there is literally a knife sticking out of Chris's abdomen.
Fuck. Okay, it's fine. You're fine. And he reaches into his into a pouch, and like kind of opens, uncorks the thing. And you see like this shimmering about like, I don't know measurements, but like about 200 milliliters ish of water just comes flowing out of the thing. And okay, this is a thing that I've been practicing. Don't really know if it'll work, but okay. And slowly just guides the water towards the knife wound. And tries to like,
go ahead.
It's fine. This might feel a little wet, but it's fine. And tries to like use the water's healing properties to heal the wound.
And
but
Chris,
also, yeah.
While this is going on, Chris is like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. If I don't, go ahead and you can. I want you to find another partner and keep fighting crime.
Fuck off! Shut up. That's not, you're not dying.
The van's in my name. Paperwork's in the glove compartment, though. Don't let my sister take it.
Okay. Well, we're not talking about this right now. Shut up. And using one hand to guide the water, he slowly pulls out the knife so that it doesn't heal around the knife, because like that's not ideal. And just drops the knife to the floor and kind of like splits the water into two. So like one is healing the wound and the other portion of it is going over anything else, maybe on his face, and he's cut scratches, trying to heal those as well.
I feel like there's a cool sort of moment as some of the wounds are healing that the water basically serves as like a hand to caress the face.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I can't believe you got yourself stabbed, or you got stabbed, of all things, of all the ways to, like, a perfect Dean Winchester fucking, I know I said that before, but come on, like, there is so many other ways that you could have done that, but like a knife, of all things.
Yeah, well, I wish some of our enemies were a little bit more imaginative too, but sometimes they bring like a pipe and a chain and a freaking knife. And God, have some imagination.
Right? A demolitions expert working with knives is just sad. Or fucking firebrands working with knives. It just makes no sense. You know, if you were burnt or something, I would have still understood that. But a knife, that's just sad. Really, that's what it is.
Yeah. Um,
How bad is it?
it's getting better, I think.
It's not going to magically, well, it is magically healing, but you know what I mean. It's just still going to take some time. And it leans in a little bit more, going over the wounds, making sure everything is okay, and then brings both the water sources back together and just focuses on the knife wound.
I mean, before you heal it too much, make sure you leave a scar. I'm hoping to have a second date coming up soon, and I've heard that scar wounds are kind of hot, so I
Just lightly punches his arm. Yeah, scars are very hot. You are right. I'll do my best. Maybe even make it look like a giant dick.
I don't know that is the same level of hot, but I mean, if that's what you're into, I guess.
I am neither going to confirm nor deny that I'm into giant dicks.
So I think we can sort of fade out on somewhat on the scene. We can continue it after a resolution here. But I feel like the resolution is obvious, but I want to actually say it here.
Yeah.
So both players mark their tracks. I think this was not a duty mission. There was a little bit of getting the van back, but this felt like a mission for, or at least not the mission, but the healing portion, right?
Yeah.
If it was duty, I think there would have been a little bit more of like capturing bad guys and taking care of that. So I think it's very much that we both. I'm gonna mark longing, I should say, and I assume that Socket is as well, but I will leave that up to you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Which, does end our game because I'm now at 4 out of 4 longing. I'm actually at 5 out of 4 longing, and so I think Chris is going to look up at Socket and start shifting around. Ow! Oh. And sort of. Can you help pull me up a little bit? I want to sit up.
Yeah, of course. Just gently helps him up.
And I think arm around shoulder becomes arm around back of head, as Chris pulls Socket in for a kiss. Can our next date be something that's not a stakeout or a mission?
I'm sure we can make that work. And then he kisses him back.
Awesome. Okay, so for the we confess our feelings. How do they react? And where do the two of us go from here? I honestly think we just answered that without realizing those are the questions that the finale was supposed to answer.
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect place to leave it off. If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that has been Hearts Unmasked. We get a nice little love story for Socket and Chris. It was really fun. I think this would be a fun game if you enjoy flirting with your friends. To go ahead and flirt with your friends. It's been a blast, and also if you have characters that are supposed to fall in love, this could be a fun way to show how they fall in love. Yeah. Any last thoughts, Steve? Here.
I had a really good time. This game is a lot of fun. I have not played a lot of like duo or solo games. Mostly has been like big casts. So it's nice to have like a non GM-less or GM-less games. Are something that I'm starting to enjoy a lot. So this was fun. I had a really good time. Thank you for having me again. And I can't wait to be part of more games in the future. Yeah.
Awesome. If you like Steve, go check out Pantsless Tables, and you can find Steve on a bunch of different social medias at SassyPants1996. As always, we hope you enjoyed here the One Shot Wonderarium on Roll for Respawn. And if you did, go give us a subscribe, go give us a follow, go give us a like, all of those things. Tell your friends about us, and you can follow me if you enjoyed my part of this on mostly Blue Sky these days at Tony Will Edit. And of course, the rest of our cast is at Roll for Respawn, ROLE, the number 4 Respawn. Thank you so much, y'all. And it is a wild, wide Wonderarium out there. So take a friend. Bye-bye.